Hello and welcome back to 365 Days with mxmtoon. I'm Maia, a singer, songwriter, video maker, Oakland native, and a student of scandals. I'm also a huge fan of history. I love untold stories, gross facts, and secrets, anything weird, dark, and funky from the past. So each day, I'm going to share some of my favorite deep cuts with you. So let's take a look at today's story with a trigger warning for sexual terms.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you've had enough. It's 365 mxmtoon.
Today, in 1998, the House Judiciary Committee approved 3 articles of impeachment to charge President Bill Clinton with perjury and obstruction of justice. The perjury was for supposedly lying on the stand when he was asked if he'd slept with Monica Lewinsky. He said, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman," but other evidence seemed to show proof that he had indeed slept with her, and thus he was charged with perjury. But this whole thing is much larger than this, so let's reverse. Monica Lewinsky graduated from Lewis and Clark College in Oregon and took an internship at the White House that she'd obtained with the help of a family friend. A flirtation began between President Clinton and Lewinsky, and they first consummated the attraction on November 15th, 1995. She later stated that she had sexual relations with the president on 9 occasions, from November 1995 to March 1997. Lewinsky was transferred to the Pentagon in April 1996 because her supervisors thought she was spending too much time around the president. They were right. Once at the Pentagon, Monica confided in Linda Tripp, a coworker who was secretly recording the conversations where Monica confided in her about the affair. Tripp also told Lewinsky to save the items that could prove that she had been in sexual situations with the president. As a result, Lewinsky never dry cleaned a semen-stained blue dress that became infamous evidence in the trial. Meanwhile, Paula Jones accused Clinton of sexual harassment, of exposing himself to her in a hotel room in 1991. The case was brought to independent counsel Ken Starr, who was already investigating Clinton for the Whitewater real estate scandal back in Arkansas. The Whitewater scandal started back in 1978, when Bill Clinton was the Attorney General of Arkansas. The Clintons started investing their money because they were worried they wouldn't make enough on the salaries of public servants. They formed the Whitewater Development Contract with the goal of buying riverfront land and reselling it as vacation homes. The Clintons started the development with a family friend, an investing who set it up so that they didn't have to pay up front but could still make a profit. The land was purchased mostly with a loan that was signed by both the Clintons and the family friends. The venture failed because the location ended up not being viable. Normally, this would have been just an embarrassing financial misstep, but the family friend, Jim McDougall, bought a savings and loan association and defrauded it, which ended up costing the federal government over $70 million. How were the Clintons involved? Well, that's a part of what Ken Starr was tasked with investigating. Some people thought that the Clintons were in on McDougall's conspiracy, or that McDougall had used the fraudulent money to pay off Clinton debts. Sympathizers, however, thought that they just got unlucky with their choice of business partners, but hadn't really done anything wrong. In January 1998, Monica Lewinsky stated in the Paula Jones deposition that she had never had sex with Clinton. At this, Linda Tripp turned in her tapes to independent counsel Starr. The scandal finally broke publicly on January 17, 1998, with the Drudge Report. They reported that Newsweek editors were just sitting on the story about the affair. Mainstream news broke the story 4 days later in the Washington Post. Clinton initially continued to deny the affair in a statement saying, "I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie. Not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you." This led to a months-long media debate over whether or not the affair had actually transpired. Hillary Clinton denounced it as a right-wing conspiracy. Lewinsky wouldn't discuss the affair, at least until she got transactional immunity for her testimony in a grand jury trial. Once that happened, Lewinsky turned in the stained blue dress, which ended up supplying the DNA evidence necessary to prove the existence of the relationship. In Clinton's own grand jury testimony, he admitted that he had an improper physical relationship with Monica Lewinsky. But in an earlier deposition, in the Paula Jones case, he'd stated that he had no sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky under oath. Therefore, with the new evidence of the DNA, it was proven that Clinton had lied under oath committing perjury. During his grand jury testimony, Clinton said some quotes that have now become legendary. It depends on what the meaning of the word is. There is not a sexual relationship, an improper sexual relationship, or any other kind of improper relationship. So, now that we're back to the House Judiciary Committee, the way this worked is that first they voted to recommend the impeachment inquiry. So, the House got to decide whether to charge the president with impeachment, and then the Senate decides whether to convict or acquit. In the Senate, a 2-3 majority is required to remove the president from office. Today, in 1998, the House Judiciary Committee voted to recommend impeaching the president. They approved 2 articles of impeachment pertaining to perjury, one for lying to a grand jury and one for obstruction of justice. The next day, the House approved another article of impeachment, alleging that he falsely answered questions by the committee, and a week later, the House of Representatives voted to impeach President Clinton. Bill Clinton apologized to Congress and the country, saying he was sorry and that he regretted giving in to his shame and would accept whatever consequences were thrown at him. Clinton made his speech in the Rose Garden of the White House. As you probably know, the apology worked. To a certain extent, Bill Clinton stayed president. A 21-day Senate trial acquitted him of the charges of perjury and obstruction of justice. Though both the Senate and the House were controlled by Republicans at the time, 10 Republicans in the Senate voted with Democrats to acquit Clinton of perjury. Though Clinton was eventually allowed to stay president, he was fined $850,000 by the court, and his reputation was permanently stained. His license to practice law in Arkansas was suspended for 5 years, though I don't really know if he'd actually have gone back to being a lawyer in Arkansas after being president, regardless of the scandal. He explained the affair as a tool to manage his anxieties as president. Sure. The aftermath for Monica was more traumatic. She became a household name as a Scarlet Woman. She did her best to avoid the public eye for many years. It's only with the advent of the Me Too movement that she's been able to redeem herself in the public image. Let's hope that history treats women like her with more sympathy in the future. It's astounding how hard it is for people to come forward with the truth about what has happened to them, and it takes immense amounts of bravery and courage to come forward as well. Monica is one woman who went through a lot, and there are many, many more. My hope is that we can eventually get to a place where people feel comfortable to come forward about their experiences. And the best thing that we can do is be there to listen when they choose to do so. Today, in 2006, a ringtone got a music award for the first time. All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America for selling over 500,000 times. The festive time of year and the rise of ringtones coincided for Mariah. What holiday tune would you pick as your ringtone for this year? And now for our final segment of today's show, I will be looking through my photo archives and seeing what I was up to on a December 11th in my life. December 11th. What is this? Oh, I have photos of my dog. That makes me happy. What was I singing here? Looks like I was doing a cover. Just like all the others. This song is called Please Never Fall in Love Again by All Yemen. And I did this cover in 2018. This is what I was up to. This is what it's like to be lovers. Very good song. Highly recommend it for anybody who needs something new for their playlist. That's all for today. Thanks so much for going back in time with me, and remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Come back tomorrow for more stories from yesteryear.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you've had enough. It's